Oh, here we go! For a ride. Oh! Yeah! Here we go! Hi, race fans. Welcome in. Seven Rose Racing, KQEG TV. I be the voice, Dan Deicher. Just about a week away from the 47th Annual Oktoberfest Race Weekend, and we're going to talk a lot about that during today's program. Segment one, we're going to kind of mix some things up. We're going to talk about the Dells. We're going to talk about Rockford, and then get you set for some surprise names that have coming up, that have came up now. They're going to be racing Oktoberfest. Segment two, we're going to do a phone interview with the voice of the Rockford Speedway and the ARCA Midwest Tour. That's going to be Eric Huenefeld. Of course, they have the National Short Track Championships coming up this weekend at Rockford, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was supposed to be down there Friday to do the Great Northern Sportsman Series Midwest Dash, but I'm doing, one of the crew members of Steve Bachman. I'm DJing his wedding Saturday. It's kind of an early one, and knowing my luck, I would have left Rockford Saturday morning and blown up a motor and not been able to do it. So I'm going to have to bypass Rockford this year, which is kind of disappointing because that's a track on my bucket list to announce. But they're going to get that going on Friday. Going to be a lot of campers down there, a lot of race cars from our area, and we hope you are going to be following along at rockfordspeedway.com. That's going to be happening this weekend. And then, of course, the big granddaddy, the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, hosting the 47th Annual Oktoberfest Race Weekend. Segment three, we're going to talk with the writer, PR director for Oktoberfest Race Weekend, Kevin Ramsell. You may remember Kevin for his years with Speed 51 and some other racing entities when he was with the ARCA Midwest Tour before Greg McCarnes purchased the series. He's going to talk a little bit more about one of the big last names that's going to be coming to Fest this year. You may recognize the first name, but it's not who you may think it is. So we'll try to sum all that for you here in segment number three as we bring Kevin in over the phone. Kind of some disappointing news for some area race fans coming out of Dells Raceway Park. They had the big Badger Stage shootout last weekend. All that rain. I mean, everybody saw all that rain. A lot of drivers said that there was nothing you could do because it just kept seeping on the track. A lot of credit to Wayne Lansing and Dan Lansing for keeping things moving as much as they could. Couldn't get the show in to finalize last weekend. They were going to move it to this weekend. That's not going to happen as well. Mother Nature has forced the cancellation for the Saturday, October 1st races due to electrical problems with the track signal lights. This is something interesting. There's an electrical short under the ground from all the water. They're digging and working on fixing it, but due to the situation, they think it was best for the race fans, safety of the drivers and the track workers to postpone that Badger State 125-lap shootout. They have rescheduled it for October 23rd, 150 laps for the Super Lates, 50 laps for the Midwest Trucks, and 40 laps for the Sportsmen. And they're going to have a lot more information coming up on their website next week, which is dellsracewaypark.com. So kind of an interesting situation at Dells with all that rain everybody got here about a week and a half ago. They did have about 140 cars, which is outstanding. They ran the Bandits, they ran the Hornet-type cars, they ran Sportsmen, Super Lates. I mean, they had so many cars there. It was nice to see them pack all those different divisions. And according to Wayne Lansing, the 140 cars was the largest they have ever had at Dells Raceway Park. Hopefully the race fans and the drivers all go back when it comes to being October 23rd, and we can get that number back up there for the Lansings and Dells Raceway Park and see what happens October 23rd. This weekend, 51st edition of the One Great Racing Weekend. It's the National Short Track Championships at the Rockford Speedway. Friday night, they're going to kick off Great Northern Sportsman Series and the Midwest Dash Cars. And then on Saturday, the Short Track Saturday night features Big 8 late models. That's going to be the 108-lap race. They've got the Illini Midgets, Vintage Racers of Illinois, and Super Late Model Preliminaries. And that will lead to Sunday, October 2nd, the 51st Annual National Short Track Champions. It's the Championship Sunday. They've got the 200-lap National Short Track Championships. They've also got the Mid-American Stock Cars and the Super Cup Invite. So that's going to be coming up this coming weekend. Go to rockfordspeedway.com and you can find out more on ticket prices, camping, and what races are coming up. Of course, here in just about a week, next weekend, we're planning for the 47th Annual Oktoberfest Race Weekend. And interesting news this week that a Craftsman Truck Series driver, he's also ran some NASCAR Sprint Cup races, Travis Quapple, is going to be entered. Looks like he may be running a Friday, Saturday, Sunday format, and we're going to get more information on that in segment number 3 from Kevin Ramsell. And a trickle is going to be racing at Oktoberfest this year. Going to be coming from Las Vegas, and Kevin Ramsell will give us more information on that as well. All of the schedules have been set in stone. You can find them at OktoberfestRaceWeekend.com. You can find the fan guides, camping guides, racing guides, the 4-day schedule, and then all the other things going on with a pumpkin decorating contest, the pet contest. You have the camper village showdowns, competitions going on. You can find all that information at OktoberfestRaceWeekend.com. Coming up in segment 2, we're going to take you to Rockford Speedway, the home of the 51st Annual National Short Track Championships. That's coming up next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Whatever your perfect temperature, you'll enjoy consistent comfort with the heating and air conditioning systems homeowners rank number 1. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialists, providing Coulee Region families with perfect indoor weather all year long. Call for your free estimate today. The next time you visit the west coast of Wisconsin, there's a hotel in La Crosse you need to check into. Here's General Manager Roxanne North.
We want to treat every guest with the best that we have to offer, and that starts with the front desk all the way through the housekeeping department. My general philosophy in life is I treat my staff the way I want to be treated, and I pass that on that we treat our guests that way.
For reservations, visit the website, settlein.com.
People come here, we want them to feel like family.
Have you tried the great lunch buffet at Pizza Hut? Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1:30, Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona offers you an all-you-can-eat lunch buffet for just $5.99. All the salad, pasta, breadsticks, and of course, delicious piping hot pizza you can eat. How about dinner? Try the triple treat box from Pizza Hut. 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, an order of breadsticks, and a Hershey's chocolate chip cookie, just $19.99. Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona. Call for delivery or order online. Pizza Hut.
Short track racing is alive and well in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Hi, this is Dan Deicher, The Voice. Join me and Billy Doc Niles each week at noon on Google 1460 for Wisconsin's most comprehensive racing report. We'll talk with local and national drivers and bring you up to date on what's going on in western Wisconsin's finest short tracks. If you love racing, you'll love our show. The Whitetail Crossing Convenience Store Race Report, Saturdays at noon on Google 1460 WBOG. Welcome back to Whitetail Crossing Convenience Stores Race Report here on 1460 WBOG, live on the internet, and those that have tuned in on the TuneIn app. Big race weekend. This is like the granddaddy before the other granddaddy going on down at Rockford Speedway. It kicked off last night. Big-time racing coming your way tonight starting at 5, and then tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We are talking about the one great racing weekend, the National Short Track Championships at Rockford Speedway. 51 years now they've done it. The voice of the Rockford Speedway and the ARCA Midwest Tour joins us on the program to talk about more. Eric Huenefeld, how are you, sir?
Doing great, Dan. It's clearly that time of year. You and I are talking on a Saturday in the fall, but it's exciting and time to get going with some big events here in the next week or two.
You know, a lot of focus has been put on, and Billy and I talked about this the past couple of weeks. There's like 4 huge races at the end of race seasons. You start off with the 1, 2, 3-day state championships in Wausau. Then you go down to the 125 and at the Dells. Then you go down to Rockford for the big short track championships. And then you go to the La Crosse Speedway for Oktoberfest. I mean, what more can you ask for in a 4-week span?
Don't forget Elko, too.
Well, Elko, too.
Yep.
It's great. You know, if you're a short track racing fan, it's where you want to be. This part of the world, this part of the year, so much going on, and with this weekend with short track here at Rockford, there's a lot of big events. Next weekend's pretty big too, and I would say between next weekend and La Crosse and this weekend here in Rockford, we're kind of the trendsetters, so to speak. There's been a lot of takeoffs since then, and they're all big events, and they deserve the publicity they get. But these are the big ones, and Rockford, being this the 51st year, it was there long before most other ones, and It's a great weekend of racing, and the tradition certainly holds up too.
I noticed on the Rockford Speedway website a couple of weeks ago, and the news release that you sent out about a week ago pertaining to the short track championships, a lot of you're going back to a lot of history right here, because the press release you had was nostalgic. And if you go to the Rockford Speedway website, you've got old cars, old stock cars that used to race there. What's the emphasis behind going old school this year?
Well, it's just that there's so much history here. Whether it's weekly. Next year will be our 70th year of existence at Rockford Speedway, 70 straight years of operations.
Wow.
Or,
That's incredible.
as I mentioned earlier, the 51st and all the history there. And I know, like you were reading, and many other folks read about the history of the event. So many names have been through here. But the intriguing thing I found, as I was kind of getting ready to write that particular piece and looking for kind of a different look, as we kind of, rehash history each year and find different fun stuff, is for all the great names and all of that have been a part of this National Short Track Championships. The best are those from the Midwest. I mean, really, and those that have had the most success are the ones from right close to home. Joe Shearer, 8-time champ of the 200-lapper, 6-time champ of Rockford. Steve Carlson, the king of the short track, he's won this thing 8 times. On and on it goes. Eddie Hoffman, Chicagoland, he's 4-time winner. Rich Bickles won it twice. And even the guys that have won it once, and some of the guys that ran so well in this race but never won. A guy like Tom Repter comes to mind. He never won the thing. He was close, and he had his share of, luck getting there that wasn't the best. But, and I didn't mention Dick Trickle, 3-time winner, too. And he was the winner of the first one in his early 20s and took off from there. So, you can't, really, to me, you can't focus on Rockford Speedway or this event, the National Short Track Championships, without focusing on history and tradition.
Speaking of history, I've noticed over the last couple of years, the last names haven't quite changed, but they've gotten a little bit younger when it comes to your track champions and your weekly warriors down there. Talk a little bit about your last couple of track champions in your late model class.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's funny. We'll on a Saturday night, we'll have a fast heat, and you could probably have ran that same heat 20 years ago, and you would have the same names in it, but it's different people. It's Bilderbacks and Guileys and Reynolds and such, and those names, those generations have kind of replenished through the years. Michael Bilderbacks, the guy to watch right now. He's our current track champion, won the championship this year. He's going for his 2nd straight Big 8 championship. Jake Guiley, nephew of Jerry Guiley, son of Tom Guiley, champion last year at the Speedway. John Reynolds Jr. won it back in 2014. Of course, John is also the defending winner of the 200-lap race here at National Short Track Championships. And on it goes, and we've got many of those same names and a couple more that I mentioned in that breath that are running this weekend. So as far as the traditional base of names and that talent so close to home, they're running this weekend too, and a part of this show.
That Big 8 race has had some incredible finishes over the last couple of years. One that comes to mind was Tim Sargent going sideways over the line. You get some pretty exciting finishes when it comes to that race on Saturday nights.
That 108-lapper has been quite the trendsetter for the Big 8 series as the years have progressed. You mentioned that. That was a great one. I'm trying to think when that was. That might have been, 8 years ago. That's a long time ago. But
it seems like yesterday to
Sergeant
me.
Reynolds. I know, me too. It's crazy. But it was Tim Sargent and John Reynolds Jr. battling for that win. A couple of years ago, they were 3 wide for the win. Casey Johnson and Dale Nonestead and Austin Nason. That
was an impressive video to watch, yep.
And you can go on YouTube and watch it to this day. And then last year was just, quite frankly, a heck of a race with some real fast cars up front, Michael Bilderback and Casey Johnson, and then some very fast cars behind them all jockeying for position. It's a great show. It was there, and that's the neat thing about the Big 8 series, and it's exciting to me that one of their big showcases is on this night, is because it's the mix of the weekly racers from all across the region. Tonight we'll have racers in the Big 8 race from 5 different states, and they're from all the weekly tracks, and that's what I think is the neat part about this. I think that's kind of, and I wasn't quite around way back in the heyday, but even at the end of the heyday, so to speak, when you could see the Artgo guys that kind of ran where you could watch them besides running the Artgo races too. Super late model racing is a little bit more segmented now than it used to be. But with the Big 8 stuff, those are the weekly racers. They run every Saturday, Friday, Sunday, and then they go out and run these races. And I like to say that the Big 8 stuff itself, it's not really a touring series, but it's kind of, we take the show to everybody's home track, and the guys from the outside try and outrun the locals, and it's really an exciting concept.
Things get underway tonight at 5 o'clock. It's the Big 8 Late Model Series 108, Illini Midgets, Vintage Racers of Illinois, and Super Late Model Preliminaries. And then tomorrow it is what Eric calls Late Model Showtime. 1 o'clock, the 200-lap National Short Track Championship gets underway, followed by the Mid-American Stock Car Series and the Super Cub Invite. Any early indications on who you think might step through the crowd and take the 200-lapper?
Well, the intriguing thing here, guys, is only once ever in the history of the event has one driver won both the super late model race and the Big 8 style or Rockford rules race, and that was Joe Shear. He did it in, I believe, 1987. We've had a couple of guys come close in recent years, Casey Johnson, John Reynolds Jr. They haven't done it. It could happen this year. We've got 5 guys running both races this year. We've got Reynolds, Bilderback, Jake Guiley, Casey Johnson, and Jim Olson all running both the super late model race and the Big 8 race. And they also happen to be pretty fast cars in either race. But there's just so many contenders. I mean, for our super late model event, entry list-wise, number-wise, we're a little down from last year. We had 30 cars last year. We'll be in the mid-20s this year, but that means we've filled our field. There will be competition to get in the 22-car starting field. And we've had very good talent every year at short track. But this year, as far as guys I think who can contend, I think there are as many guys that could win the 200 in the 200 this year than I can remember. You've always got your talented drivers and people like that are going to be there. But, I mean, legitimately there could be 15 guys out of the 24 or so super late models that I think could win the 200 tomorrow.
Eric, we appreciate you joining us in the program. I know you've got a boatload of stuff to go before you start getting things underway this afternoon. We appreciate you joining us and get a spot all set for you and some Queensland apples and some pork chops for Oktoberfest next weekend.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you all next weekend up at La Crosse. And anybody that's listening, if you can still make the trip tonight or more importantly come on down to Rockford tomorrow, we'd love to see you.
Alrighty, Eric Huenefeld, the voice of the Rockford Speedway and the ARCA Midwest Tour. You're going to be hearing a lot about him tonight at the Rockford Speedway and then more next weekend as he travels to La Crosse. Short track racing is alive and well in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Hi, this is Dan Deicher, The Voice. Join me and Billy Doc Niles each week at noon on Google 1460 for Wisconsin's most comprehensive racing report. We'll talk with local and national drivers and bring you up to date on what's going on in western Wisconsin's finest short tracks. If you love racing, you'll love our show. The Whitetail Crossing Convenience Store Race Report, Saturdays at noon on Google 1460 WBOG.
Have you tried the great lunch buffet at Pizza Hut? Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1:30, Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona offers you an all-you-can-eat lunch buffet for just $5.99. All the salad, pasta, breadsticks, and of course, delicious piping hot pizza you can eat. How about dinner? Try the Triple Treat Box from Pizza Hut. 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, an order of breadsticks, and a Hershey's chocolate chip cookie, just $19.99. Pizza Hut in La Crosse and Winona. Call for delivery or order online. Pizza Hut. The next time you visit the west coast of Wisconsin, there's a hotel in La Crosse you need to check into. Here's General Manager Roxanne North.
We want to treat every guest with the best that we have to offer, and that starts with the front desk all the way through the housekeeping department. My general philosophy in life is I treat my staff the way I want to be treated, and I pass that on that we treat our guests that way.
For reservations, visit the website, settlein.com.
People come here, we want them to feel like family.
Whatever your perfect temperature, you'll enjoy consistent comfort with the heating and air conditioning systems homeowners rank #1. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialists, providing Coulee Region families with perfect indoor weather all year long. Call for your free estimate today.
Next week, it's going to be a whole tower full of tummies and egos. Billy, Doc, Niles, myself, and our next guest, the writer for Oktoberfest Race Weekend, Kevin Ramsell. Kevin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's time for our annual get-together and need a lot of food that people donate up to the tower.
I love that part.
You notice nobody ever brings bacon up because nobody will get near it if Deicher gets a hold of it.
This is true.
Yeah, actually, this year we're looking for like a pulled pork sponsor this year, or a barbecue sponsor to come up and visit us this year in the tower this year.
See, now the thing is, Kevin takes care of the cookies. Dan Fredrickson, is it his sister?
Actually, it's his mom, Liz Fredrickson.
His mom cooks for us, but you and I didn't bring anything to the table, so we need to really contribute to Kevin this year.
You know, Kevin, Big Boar is like about 2 blocks away from the Speedway. We could cure that pork problem.
I think you need to work on something there, Doc.
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about some actual racing here. We can talk food off the air.
There. Kevin, of course, formerly with the ARCA Midwest Tour, Speed 51. He's been associated with the Oktoberfest Race Weekend for probably double the time that I've been announcing there. Good to have you back on the program. A lot of exciting things coming up as this is now in its 47th year. And to Doc and I, we've talked about this the past couple of weeks, the growth that we are still seeing with Oktoberfest. Are you still seeing this massive growth and anticipation for Fest?
I'm not only seeing the growth. This is actually the ninth out of the last 10 years that I have actually done the PR and do the writing for Oktoberfest. So I'm excited to come back because it was 10 years ago that we saw Steve Holzhausen win a 100 laps on a caution-free race and finally get his name mentioned in the Oktoberfest books. But yeah, it is still growing. I think the thing that really sticks out with me about Oktoberfest is the fact of it's becoming a who's who of drivers who have competed there, won there, and gone on to do bigger and better things, not only locally but on a national level as well. And I think this year could be a unique year because I think we're going to have probably one driver that could probably add his name to that list if things go right for him in 2017 and down the road.
Well, Ty Majeski, you and I talked about he told Doc and I several weeks ago, this is the race that he and Toby and his crew want to win. This is like the biggest bucket list race that's out there. Majeski looking to put his name on there. I got a driver coming from Vegas this year we're going to talk about that would love to re-put the last name amongst the winners, and maybe some hitters coming out of Florida. First, let's talk about Ty Majeski. Last year, problems, the last 10 laps, I think it was 10 to go, he developed some problems. Does Ty rebound and just go for broke this year?
You know, I tell you something. Actually, what happened was on the restart last year in the late going of the race, he dominated that race. I think he led probably much led around 150 laps or so to 200 laps so far. And like you said, there was a restart about 10 to go, and when you run those engines real long for real warm, you're going to run into a problem. And when that problem is having vapor lock in the carburetor, that's exactly what happened to Majeski when he was crossing the start-finish line on the restart. Kind of vapor lock, car hiccup. Dan Fredrickson took advantage, went away, and won his 4th Oktoberfest Nationals. It's amazing that what he did last year, and the last time I could think of a driver dominating the weekend like that was probably either Charlie Menard back in probably 2004, 2005, and then around that same time, Tim Schendel had a really strong weekend as well too, and he went out there and won the
the trickle race. He went out there and won the Big 8 race. He won the lacrosse late models feature. He was pretty much winning, and I'm sorry, he won the Big 8, John McCarran 63 on Sunday, and he was pretty much about ready to put a bow tie on his weekend, and came up 10 laps short. So I think this year they got to come back and realize we have some unfinished business here, and you know what, Toby Middleman and Ty, I have not seen a better driver-crew combo that has worked so well in such a long time in short track racing.
One thing I noticed last year, Fredrickson had a bad qualifying time, ended up coming through the one of the last chance races to get into the main event. But one name that, it was the same three the last two races last year, Fredrickson, Majeski, and Gady. How close can Gady, Gady's been so close the last couple of years. When do you figure this guy's going to break through and win one?
The key for Jacob Gady is real simple. Come to Oktoberfest without having any engine problems. And I hate to say that and bring up something negative. I'm not that kind of person, but Jacob Gady has had those issues in the past where he spent the weekend either rebuilding an engine or coming back in last year, and he admitted it after the race because we finally got things put together and we're finally starting to show what we can do. So I would say if we had like a Las Vegas odd type of thing, he would have probably really good odds this year to win the 200.
Kevin Ramsell, the PR director for the Oktoberfest Race Weekend, joining us for the next couple of segments. The WBOG Race Report. 17 divisions coming back this year, and one of the big rumors or hubbubs I keep hearing is a possible record amount of Big 8 late model entries. Are you hearing that? Do you figure that we're going to see a huge number of Big 8 late models?
The Big 8 late models, or if you want to call them, the Big 8 late models, some people call them limited late models. I know some people in the circles don't like to use the word limited because they're pretty much are close to a late model car, just little minor differences with the engine, and they run on an 8-inch tire, a treaded tire instead of a 10-inch tire. You have to go back and look at history. If you ever race to visit the tower, you'll see the history of the car counts, and the Big 8s has always had a large car count up there. And I think it's because of the fact that a lot of the tracks around Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, and over Minnesota, that is a very economical division to run. And you got tracks around like La Crosse, Madison, Jefferson. Elko has their own Big 8 division. There's a lot more of those cars around than our super late models these days. So that's not a surprise that they have a record car count because this is pretty much their last big race of the year. So pretty much these guys will come up on that Saturday, try to make that show, and just go out in 2016 with a bang. And to give you an idea how big this Big 8 late model series has grown, take a look at what La Crosse is going to be doing next year. You guys know real well they've had their own kind of own type of engine and tire type of deal up there for a long time, and next year they're going to a Big 8 role with their weekly division up there.
One thing I've always thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, by the end of the weekend you got bragging rights. You're one of only 17 people that can say you're an Oktoberfest champion.
Yeah, and there's only so many of those Oktoberfest race winner hats that can go around too. So it's not a lot of people don't not only take pride winning one of those 17 people. There's a lot of people take very much a lot of pride winning an Oktoberfest heat race as well too.
I know I did.
Well, you got lucky that time. But
I didn't. I was out front. They were battling behind me.
What year was that? 1984?
No.
Oh man!
You want to know the truth there, Kevin? 1981, my rookie year, I had a straightaway lead on the last lap of a heat race and ran out of gas. Coasted across third.
well, that's why I told you on that Dan Deicher is your gas man at that time. But I drive away from that. But that's the thing is that people come up there and no matter if you win a heat race or if you're a fast qualifier, you go home with a giant-sized wooden bullet made by Greg Oliver's dad. I mean, there's a lot of prestige for just winning something at Oktoberfest. So people come up there, if they win a heat race, hey, we're going to drink beer afterwards. If they won the fast time, hey, we're going to drink beer afterwards. If they won a feature race, hey, we're going to drink beer afterwards. There's an excuse to drink beer afterwards at Oktoberfest.
I want to let people know if you want to get advanced tickets, the mega ticket, contact 608-786-1525. Again, that's 786 $15.25. The mega ticket includes reserved seating in Turn 1 grandstand, post-race party admission, and guarantee of a great seat. Other activities to enjoy during Oktoberfest race weekend is the Dean Satellite Camper Challenge, one of the sponsors of the program. The 2016 Champions Reception held on Sunday, pet costume, live music, pumpkin coloring contest, and a whole lot more. Oktoberfestraceweekend.com is a website you're going to want to find out all of the information, the entire schedules, and everything that's going on. That's Oktoberfest Race Weekend.